This is not what you would normally call a natural history film, though it could turn out to be an extreme form of the nature of humans and their impact on their habitat. In fact, that impact reaches right around the planet and so far supports displays of amazing contrasts and extremes. As a biologist, I will apply the circumstances that enable natural organisms to exist and to continue sustainably. In the case of Dubai, it may not. Famous for a rather different kind of wildlife, today its future may be in doubt, and only time will tell. Around the world are mysterious ruins from civilizations of the past, like Stonehenge in England, where sun worship continues today. Machu Picchu in Peru, another lost city. Easter Island in the Pacific, where they probably exhausted their natural resources. And Detroit, once a thriving car-making city in the US, now a modern ghost city. And Las Vegas, like Dubai, a desert city, apparently with no restraints. But is it sustainable? It all started in a creek, from primitive pearl fishing, gathering oysters from the sea floor. But then the Japanese produced cultured pearls, the first crash of several to hit Dubai since slaves dived. Now imported slaves build Dubai's amazing progress in the region. Donald Trump, global developer, said, "It's an incredible place. The stuff they're doing is amazing. They're limited purely by their imagination and the laws of physics. It's an area that's growing rapidly and we want to be there." But will he? Some of the biggest projects take the longest time, particularly when you're building islands in the sea, and it turns out dredged sand doesn't always make the best foundations, at least to begin with. Watch those places. So from smugglers and fishermen and the ambitions of the Maktoum family, Dubai has rushed on, ever upwards and outwards. They say if you build it, they will come. For now, the Chinese certainly will. Their middle class are serious shoppers, and many malls in Dubai are a consumer's paradise, where all sorts of international brands are represented. Most of it is imported, so airports and seaports become enormous. That means there's a growing environmental cost to your favourite handbag, car or designer dress. It seems money is no object here. To be this cold, to buy this food from across the world despite man-made global warming and excessive CO2 pollution. The Pope, no less, has referred to the idol called money and the throwaway culture. That's the consumer and the consumed. Famously, the banks crashed. People panicked. They fled, emptying the city. Apparently, quoting a visiting actress, "I saw an astonishing sight. A load of Ferraris and others had just been dumped at the airport, with the keys still in the ignition. I was told that things were so bad there financially that people leaving the country just dumped their cars at the airport for the finance companies to collect." Bye-bye, Dubai. In nearby Oman, a more traditional form of consumerism, out goes all sorts of stuff in an extraordinary smuggling operation for all to see. They're heading for Iran to beat sanctions, racing across the politically sensitive Straits of Hormuz. Cruise ships pass this way too, and weapons of war patrol this vital sea corridor. It's an unstable part of the world where trade and tourism are always going to be risky. Bus shelters are air-conditioned, In summer it can be the hottest region in the world, where the so-called building slaves die in the heat. With global warming, it would not be possible to go on the beach. Shopping in a huge air-conditioned mall could be the answer. Despite now having the new world's busiest airport, Emirates have recently cancelled a $16 billion order for 70 Airbus planes. A sign of the times, perhaps. There's a local saying about to boom and back. My grandfather rode a camel. My father drove a Jeep. I drive a BMW. My son drives a Jeep, and his son will ride a camel. Sea level rise is already flooding low-lying places around the world. Will that happen to those expensive projects like the Palm in Dubai? And will dolphins play where millionaires and footballers once trod? Will flamingos, now well fed, be flooded out from their breeding grounds? With the world's tallest building so far behind one of the world's tallest birds, be a symbol of huge success or of classic overconsumption and permanent smog? A lost city, like this underwater Atlantis, complete with pillars and scenic bubbles. By searching from a satellite, scientists found not a lost city under the sea, like Atlantis, but under the desert, not far from Dubai. The Atlantis of the sands, Ubar. Little remains above the surface today, but some think it collapsed into a huge underground cavern. Visitors are intrigued about its history, but this lost city is believed by some to have been a hotbed of wickedness, its people corrupted by its riches. Sounds familiar? Perhaps another Machu Picchu, Stonehenge, Easter Island, where they ran out of resources, where greed won. Will archaeologists later wonder what happened to Dubai? A lost city in the future, perhaps? The famous poet Shelley wrote,
I met a traveller from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on those lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings, look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.